Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, hi, I am your host, and today's episode is going to be very interesting because we are going to talk about the memory techniques. First, let me share an interesting quote with you by Dr. Seuss that says, "Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get done. It is going to be a piece of cake." So before we start, make sure you show some love and hit that like button if you love such interesting and informative content. This method is pretty amazing and at the same time, very easy to understand. Repetition and practice are the most important factors when it comes to memorizing things. The more you repeat and practice, the more you are likely to remember. This is one of my favorite methods because this is the most easiest way to memorize things. This technique is named after the famous physicist Richard Feynman. If you like these methods, do give it a thumbs up. Also, let us know which method works best for you. We hope that you enjoyed this episode and learned something new. Do subscribe to our channel for more such informative episodes. Thanks for watching. This technique is a very powerful method that involves understanding concepts at a deep level. In this technique, you first start by choosing a concept that you want to understand. Then you explain the concept in your own words, as if you were teaching it to a young child. After that, identify the gaps in your knowledge and go back to the source material to fill those gaps. Once you have filled all the gaps, review the concept again and simplify it even further. This technique is very effective in understanding and remembering things for a long period of time. In this method, you create a memorable story or chain of events that connects the information that you want to remember. For example, if you want to remember a grocery list, you can imagine yourself going to a grocery store and picking up each item on your list. As you move through the store, each item you pick up becomes a link in a chain that connects all the items on your list. This method is very effective as it creates a memorable story that you can easily recall later on. This method is very useful for long-term memory retention. The link method is also known as the chain method or story method. In this method, you create a memorable story or chain of events that connects the information that you want to remember. For example, if you want to remember a grocery list, you can imagine yourself going to a grocery store and picking up each item on your list. As you move through the store, each item you pick up becomes a link in a chain that connects all the items on your list. This method is very effective as it creates a memorable story that you can easily recall later on. This method is very useful for long-term memory retention. There are two types of repetition, which are spaced repetition and active recall. Spaced repetition is a technique where you review information at increasing intervals. For example, if you want to memorize a speech, you can read it once, then after 15 days, again after 1 month, again after 3 months, and so on. Active recall is another technique where you try to remember information without any help. For example, if you want to memorize a speech, you can close your eyes and try to remember what you had said. This technique is very helpful as it forces your brain to retrieve information from memory. By using repetition and practice, you can strengthen your memory and make sure that you don't forget anything important. Visualization is a technique where you create vivid and memorable images to represent the information that you want to remember. Mnemonics are basically devices that we use to remember things more easily. There are different types of mnemonics such as acrostics, rhymes, acronyms, and so on. Let me give you a few examples for better understanding. Acrostics are sentences where the first letter of each word represents something that you want to remember. For example, the sentence "Every good boy deserves fudge" is an acrostic for the musical notes E, G, B, D, F. Rhymes are another type of mnemonic where you use the rhythm and rhyme to remember things. For example, the nursery rhyme "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" is a rhyme that helps you to remember the lyrics. Acronyms are also a popular type of mnemonic where you use the first letter of each word to form a new word. For example, the acronym NASA stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. By using mnemonics, you can make memorizing things much easier and fun. For example, if you want to remember someone's name, you can visualize their face, along with their name written in big, bold letters. Or if you want to remember a speech, you can visualize yourself giving the speech confidently and fluently. This technique is based on the idea that our brains process visual information much faster than text or numbers. Not only this, visualization is also great for improving focus and concentration levels. It also helps to improve your memory recall. When you visualize things, you are more likely to remember them later on. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Now, let's begin. We will talk about how to remember names, faces, numbers, long list of things, and much more. This is one of my favorite ways to memorize things. The second method to memorize things is association. This is one of the easiest methods to memorize things. Association is a basic learning technique that we use since birth. Through association, we link new information to something that we already know. Have you noticed that when you learn a new language, you learn words in groups? For example, the colors, days of the week, numbers, family members, etc. When you see a red apple, you associate the color red with the fruit apple. So when you see any other red object, you immediately think of the color red. Similarly, when you learn a new language, you learn words in groups. For example, the days of the week, numbers, colors, family members, etc. Through association, you connect new words to something that you already know. Like in Hindi, we say, "Ek din kitten gante." That means one day has 24 hours. So through association, you link new information to something that you already know. This is a simple yet effective method to memorize things quickly. Have you heard about chunking? Chunking is basically a technique where you take big sets of data and divide them into smaller chunks or groups. Each chunk should contain 3 to 4 items, and while connecting these chunks together, you need to ensure that they are strongly linked. One example can be your phone number. For instance, in India, most phone numbers are 10 digits, but we do unperceive them as one big set of 10 digits. Instead, we divide it into 3 chunks. So we remember it as country code, area code, and the rest of the number. Similarly, in the United States, people use country code, area code, and the rest of the 7 digits. In this way, you can remember large chunks of data by breaking them down into smaller pieces. This allows your brain to process the information more efficiently and effectively. Not only this, chunking helps you to retain information for a longer period of time. You can use this technique for memorizing numbers, long lists, passwords, credit card details, and much more. And this will help you to unlock your super brain. So do watch the episode till the end. I have prepared a list of 7 techniques that actually work when it comes to remembering things. Part 1. Chunking. Now let's move on to the next point, which is association. Moving on to the third point, which is visualization. This is also known as a memorable image. Let's move on to the fourth point, which is repetition and practice. The fifth method to memorize things is mnemonics. The sixth method is the link method. The link method is also known as the chain method or story method. The final method to memorize things is the Feynman technique. This is also known as the first principles thinking. These are the 7 memory techniques that you can use to unlock your super brain.